Well, hello there. My name is Taylor Bell, and if you're new here, I'm a consultant working out of New York City, but currently working from home in Los Angeles, California. So I mentioned in my last video that I found and signed for an apartment in New York City, and I will be moving right around August 1st, give or take a couple days, with the expectation to be working fully in the office again, or at least a hybrid model starting on September 1st. So I wanted to give you guys a quick look into some of the apartments that we looked at, and by we, I mean my roommate and me. Some tips and tricks for finding an apartment, and what the current prices are looking like right now in New York City, if you're interested. So let's jump right in. And editing Taylor here. As always, please don't forget to like the video. This one took a long time. I was very tired when I filmed it, so don't blame me if you watch me on 1.5 speed. Up to you. With that, let's jump right in. So first, a very important part, how did I know where in New York City I wanted to live? So even though I'm from the West Coast, I did have some experience in New York City beforehand, which definitely helped. I visited a few times when I was younger with my family when we did our little cross-country road trips, but that didn't really give me any real experience in New York. It wasn't until I worked and lived in New York City for 2 summers in a row for my sophomore year internship and my junior year internship that I started to really learn the different personalities and vibes of each of the little pockets within Manhattan. So for each of those 2 summers, I lucked out really hard both times in terms of housing, like by total chance. And let me define total chance. For my sophomore summer internship, my cousin's friend just wanted someone he could trust to kind of look after his place for the summer. Well, he worked in Toronto, where he's from, for 3 months. So I was that person, and I got to live in his 1-bedroom apartment in West Village for $600 a month. If you don't know, that is unheard of anywhere in New York, especially West Village, which is a very trendy, expensive part of the city. That was sophomore year. And then for my junior year, my mom was at a wedding of the son of one of her good friends, and at that wedding my mom met a woman who was friends of the bride, and that person worked in New York City, and totally by chance, because you know my mom talks a lot, she asks these things, my mom found out that she actually needed someone to fill her 2nd bedroom in the financial district that summer. So then my boyfriend and I actually shared that room in her apartment for that summer, and we each paid $900 per month for a very nice apartment. So I got very lucky 2 summers in a row, but I tell you this to illustrate that I lived in the city for 2 different summers, and through living there in the West Village and Financial District, I got to know those 2 areas very well. And then just through going out on the weekends and visiting other friends' apartments, I just got to know the city decently well. And this definitely helped my roommate and I decide which areas of Manhattan we were happy to live in. So my tip for you before you move to New York, or really any city for that matter, I think it really helps to get a good idea of the different personalities of the different neighborhoods that you could potentially live in. If you don't have prior experience living in the city, you can figure these things out, through YouTube or just through Google search. But what I would recommend when you move to that city, live for the first month in an Airbnb instead of signing for an apartment before you move. That way it gives you a little bit of breathing space to kind of get to know the city a little bit before signing for an apartment. And if you actually plan with enough time in advance, you can probably find an Airbnb for cheaper than whatever apartment you're going to sign for. So it gives you that month to explore the city, but also to apartment hunt in person, which if you don't have prior experience with the city, I think is a huge advantage. So with that, my roommate and I decided that we were interested in looking at the East Village, Greenwich Village, Chelsea, Hell's Kitchen, and Hudson Yards, just Midtown West in general. Then, very important, we decided on a budget. So my roommate and I are actually both first-year consultants, and we had a very similar budget. We wanted to start looking at places for right around $3,000 a month, so $1,500 each, and see what we could find for that price point. But then moving to the higher end of our budget, my roommate was willing to go up to $1,750 a month, and I was willing to go up to $1,900 a month if we were able to find a really nice place. So our total all-in budget on the high end was $3,650 per month. And I anticipate getting some comments saying like,
Taylor, you could get a full ranch for that in Montana.
And yes, I know that. In fact, half of me would probably like the ranch in Montana just as much because I love the outdoors. But while I am working and living in New York for a couple of years in my 20s, I want to have a place that I enjoy coming home to. So then our next step was to decide on the non-negotiable features that we needed for our apartment. Non-negotiable, obviously we were not willing to budge on any of these things. So for us, that was 2 bedrooms and then of course at least 1 bathroom. We ideally wanted 2 bathrooms or even 1.5 if possible, but our non-negotiable was 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom. The next non-negotiable was air conditioning, which sounds crazy, but not every apartment in New York has air conditioning. And then the third non-negotiable, this one was mainly a Taylor non-negotiable, but that was to have some good lighting. Not necessarily floor to ceiling windows. I knew that with my budget, that probably wasn't going to be possible, but I really can't live in a place unless there is some good natural light coming in. Especially during these days, if I'm still working from home at all by the time that I move, I personally would become unhappy very quickly if I had a tiny little window that faced another brick wall wall or someone else's apartment right outside. Side effects, I guess, of growing up in a place where the sun is always shining. I require a good amount of sunlight. All right, and then after the non-negotiables, we made a list of things that we really wanted, but that weren't necessarily non-negotiable. Let's call it a wish list. So the first thing on that was a washer and dryer in unit, ideally, or at least in the building. And you'd be surprised, this is actually a pretty rare thing in New York City, or at least it's a luxury. Next thing on the list, this was a big one for me, and that was south-facing windows. Again, I am all about that light, and if I knew that my apartment was gonna have fairly small windows, because that's probably what I knew I was gonna get, at least within my budget, I wanted to at least know that some decent sunlight was gonna come in those windows. So at least for me, south-facing windows in my bedroom at least was high on my wish list. Next on the list, my roommate and I both really liked the idea of having a doorman or some kind of added security at the street level. Next was an elevator, or at least not too many floors up if it was gonna be a walk-up. Next was amenities of some kind. Now I know some of those big buildings have crazy amenities sometimes, like a pool or tennis courts and a gym, while some other smaller apartments of course might not have anything like that, but it was at least on our wish list. And then final thing on our wish list was a big enough living space to be able to entertain and have friends over. My roommate and I are both very social people, and we love the idea of having friends over and having little dinner parties and pre-games with our friends. So we wanted enough room to have like a small couch at least, and maybe a couple chairs, enough room to have friends over. My freshman year in my dorm, I had my bedroom door pretty much open all the time, so it kind of became a little hangout spot for a lot of people on my floor. And I would love for our apartment to be sort of similar, but like the adult version, where a lot of our friends can know that our apartment is a place that they can come hang out a lot of the time. So those were the additional things on our wish list. Again, not necessarily deal breakers if we found a great spot that didn't necessarily have a couple of these things, but things that we valued for sure. By the way, guys, it's me again. Oh, I look tired. All right, that should help. I have tired eyes. Bear with me. But I just want to acknowledge that what I have on my wish list and the things that I consider non-negotiable, those are personal preferences that I made within my own budget. To one person, my budget and my wish list might be just totally out of their scope. And on the other hand, someone else might see my wish list and say, wow, those are just the bare essentials. You need a lot more than that. It all depends on the person and what you value, what your budget is. But I just want to say that I'm super grateful to be able to financially support myself and to even have the ability to make a wish list, because I know that's not the case for everybody. So just want to throw that in there, and with that, let us continue. So with these things in mind, we began our search on streeteasy.com. As you guys might know, with the global pandemic and all, a lot of people moved out of Manhattan and rent prices actually dropped pretty drastically. Now they have gone back up a bit compared to 6 months ago, but they are still down from what they were like a year and a half ago, which is nice. So on StreetEasy, if you guys haven't used this before, you can add all the filters you want, from the exact neighborhood that you're interested in to, of course, the price, the number of bedrooms, and it's really easy to go down a StreetEasy rabbit hole because it will show you similar listings. So it's an easy and very, very, very helpful tool to use if you're looking for an apartment in New York City. So now I'm going to show you guys a couple of the options that we looked at. I'm going to screen record and take you guys with me. Okay, so this is the first one that we looked at. This is a 2-bedroom in Hell's Kitchen for $3,750 a month, but with 1 month free. The net effective rent came out to right around $3,400 per month. So at roughly $1,700 each for both my roommate and myself, this one fell within our budget. And I really like that StreetEasy shows this net effective rent, because even though in this case you'll technically be paying $0 for 1 month and then this full listing price for the remainder of the lease, in my opinion it's easier to wrap your head around that net effective rent, which is the average really of what you'll be paying over this lease term. So this one had its perks for sure. It has a nice big living room, definitely enough space here to have friends over, clean bathroom, which I like, and overall definitely some good lighting coming in, which as you guys know by now is very important to me. Plus when you scroll down to see the amenities, I see that there is laundry in the building, which is awesome. However, we both thought that the kitchen area was a little bit cramped. I mean, when you look at the floor plan, you can see that the kitchen is 7 feet by 5'7", which is shorter than my wingspan, and given that I cook a lot, that's just a little bit cramped, and the bathroom was right here. It's a little more obvious in the 3D tour, which a lot of these things on StreetEasy have the 3D tour, which is awesome. But yeah, here you can kind of get an idea that it's a little bit cramped. I mean, there's literally no counter space if you care to cook at all. If you don't care to, then this really seems like a great option. Bathroom is right there and not really any space here coming in, but that's fine. Bedrooms were definitely nice enough. And finally, besides the kind of cramped kitchen space, this is a 5th floor walk-up, we found out. So because of the kitchen and the 5th floor walk-up, we decided to not go with this one, but definitely was a good contender. All right, so now I will show you guys the second one that we looked at. This is it, and right off the bat, we both loved how much sunlight came in. I mean, you can see that it's definitely flooded with light. And the rent, even before the free month, but especially after, fell well within our budget, in fact actually quite a bit under our budget, and we found out why. This apartment is what you call a railroad 2-bedroom, which means that you have to go through one bedroom to get to the second bedroom, which is way more obvious when you look at the actual floor plan. So here you can see the floor plan, not the sexiest thing in the world, but basically this is the kitchen, the bathroom, living space, and then you have to go through this bedroom in order to get to this bedroom. And the only scenario in which I could see this being a viable option is if you live with your significant other and you turn this second bedroom into an office space or a studio or a room for whatever your hobby is, but definitely not another roommate's bedroom, even though there is a lot of natural light coming in. Obviously, not a great option for us. Also, if I had to have any more reasons, it is on the second floor of a really busy street, so it would just be pretty noisy, I would guess, and there's no washer and dryer in unit or in the whole building, so this was a slam dunk no for us pretty much, but you know, good lighting. So as you can imagine, we looked at quite a few more on Street Easy, and there were definitely some promising options, but after finding little problems here and there with pretty much every listing that we looked at, my roommate and I decided to reroute our focus a little bit. We decided we wanted to try to take a look at the luxury high-rise apartments that are in New York versus the kind of smaller apartment buildings that are landlord run, like the ones that we were looking at on Street Easy. And while we figured those high-rise apartments might be a little bit harder to find within our budget, we knew that they would definitely check off a lot of our boxes on our non-negotiable and on our wish list. Washer and dryer in unit for most of them, or at least in the building, some amenities, which in extreme cases could mean a pool, tennis courts, or even a gym, which would also save a lot of money on a gym membership, but also things like a mail room and the 24-hour doorman that I kind of mentioned before. It would definitely give us that added level of security and safety that we wanted, plus just the standardization of living in a big building like that in terms of maintenance and things like that. And it would just be a cherry on top if I could live on like the 30th floor of a building and have a crazy view. I'm a huge sucker for heights, and of course that would mean a good view plus ideally some, you know, big windows. Again, we figured it might be hard to find something with our all-in budget of $36.50 per month, but we decided to give it a look. So taking you guys back on my screen with me, we found this luxury high-rise apartment actually from a friend of ours who lives in it, and we knew that he was paying $2,000 a month himself within a 4-bedroom. He was paying individually $2,000, which was of course out of our budget a bit. But after doing some digging, we found this listing. So this is actually not the exact one. Literally from yesterday until today, it must have been snatched up because I couldn't find the one that we looked at. But this listing looks almost exactly the same, except our listing was $3,500 per month and it was 2 bedrooms. The one that we looked at was on the 26th floor, which is and our listing actually showed the same exact photos as this listing, even though it's a different unit. So, you know, nice living space with big windows. It showed this nice bedroom, very nice bathroom. But then after this, it really just started showing pictures of like the penthouse and pictures of like not our exact unit. So we were kind of turned off that we couldn't see that many photos of the unit itself. But then we found out that the amenities for this place are kind of insane. Just to name a few here: full-time doorman, washer and dryer in unit, gym in the building, pool, tennis courts, package room, media room. Like the amenities were just off the charts. And for $3,500 a month for the 2 of us, which was nicely within our budget. At this point, even though we didn't have a ton of photos of the actual unit itself, we wanted to jump on this and we contacted the broker as soon as possible. So what we later found out was that it was actually a 2-bedroom flex, meaning that there was one real bedroom, but that you would have to put up a temporary wall in the living space in order to get that second bedroom. Which honestly, believe it or not, we're not super opposed to because the amenities were amazing. The view from the 26th floor, $3,500 a month. So as long as the flex bedroom was still big enough and it left a decent amount of living space, you know, sure. So from there, we asked the broker for more details. We asked her to send us dimensions of the flex living space and what the leftover common area living space would be. And she ended up sending us video walkthroughs of 2 units actually. Both of them had that kind of second flex bedroom situation. And the first one had a tiny flex bedroom, like way too small for my liking. Not enough breathing space, not enough room to put a desk in there. And for the second one, the flex bedroom was actually big enough, but that of course meant that we had to compromise on the living space and it was pretty small. Plus the flex wall cut off almost all of the sunlight into the kitchen area and the living space, which we thought was a little sad. Even still though, because of all those other perks, we were still interested in that second unit that had a relatively big second flex bedroom, but we just somehow couldn't seem to get proper dimensions of the place. The floor plans that the building provided were not to scale, and it was just really hard to get an idea of how big the actual space was. We asked for dimensions, but it just seemed impossible to get. So we didn't say no to this one, but we did keep our options open and continued looking a little bit. And then finally, and I'm sure you guys saw this coming, the winner. So first I'll take you guys through it and then we'll go through the amenities, pricing, and some fun plans that my roommate and I have for the space. So drum roll, this is it. You first walk into this big hallway. And from here you enter this large living space. And look at the windows, you guys. Oh my god, I think you know how happy I am with the windows! So I'll try to contain my excitement because I've already gone through this quite a bit, but right off of the living space you have this open kitchen area. Kitchen isn't the most beautiful thing in the world. I mean, I just don't love the backsplash, but who cares? That's just me being picky. I love that there is a counter space for me to actually cook on. I love that it's kind of an open floor plan-ish. And again, the windows. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. Central air conditioning, of course. So moving back to the hallway from this lovely living area. You enter here again, and right off of the entrance, we have laundry in unit. Let's open it up. There you go. Very nice. Right there in unit, yes. And then again in this little area right off the bat we have a big hallway closet, very spacious, at least for New York. I mean, some of you guys are gonna laugh at me that I say that this is very spacious, but again, you have to adjust your expectations to know that this is New York and not a ranch in Montana or anything in between. And I skipped another closet actually. As soon as you walk in, there's another closet right here. So this will be the coat closet. When you first walk in, we'll put like our puffer jackets there for the winter and little things that we want to be able to access as soon as we're walking out. And then moving back into this little alcove area, let's show you guys the bathroom. Here we have a gorgeous bathroom with a view, which, you know, I don't need, but I have. And of course, this nice little privacy screen thing. Little floating sink. I mean, it's so nice. And then I know that there is storage behind this mirror and this kind of full body length mirror as well. And then finally, to show you guys my bedroom, this is it. Like, I don't know if I hyped up how much I love window. I definitely hyped it up enough. But can you believe floor to ceiling windows? And then off the windows here is gonna be my closet. Again, very spacious for New York, you know, plenty of space on both sides. And then from this closet, I'm gonna have my bed. I'm gonna put a queen size bed in right here. And then with the bed there, I'm gonna have a desk, probably right here, either facing that way or that way. Haven't decided yet, but my plan is to get a glass desk so that way I can see right through it and I don't miss any of that insane view. And that is my apartment. And this is not my exact unit, by the way, it's worth mentioning. It's the same floor plan, but it's on a different floor and different corner of the building, but I still wanted to give you guys an idea. And that is that. So you might have noticed that there's not a second bedroom. Well, I'm going to show you guys the plan. So what we decided to do is similar to that first luxury apartment building, and we're actually going to put in a flex wall for the second bedroom. But this apartment is actually bigger than the last one, and we got proper dimensions, so we know that we're going to have enough leftover room in the living space, and the flex bedroom is going to be big enough. So at the top of the temporary wall, we're going to have some plexiglass, which is going to let in a decent amount of light into the living space and into the kitchen. So we are very excited about it. So now let's talk about amenities and pricing. So the amenities of this building are pretty much exactly the same as the first luxury apartment I showed you guys. Again, washer and dryer in unit, pool, tennis courts, gym in building, which again, that's another huge expense saved. Big, nice lobby, 24-hour doorman for extra security, mail room, like pretty much everything that we could want. And the pricing, very important information. So this place, which is actually a 1-bedroom or a 2-bedroom flex, was originally $3,700 per month plus an extra $100 per month per person to use all of those amenities. So obviously that went outside of our budget, but I am happy to report that we were able to negotiate down to $3,600 net per month plus the amenities fee waived, and we signed it. So since I'm getting the real bedroom with the built-in closet and my roommate will be staying in the flex bedroom and use this closet up in the hallway, we decided that I will be paying $1,875 per month and she will be paying $1,725 per month. So we both stayed within our budgets and got an amazing place with an insane view and pretty much checked off all of our wish list items. Of course, it goes without saying that having 2 real bedrooms and not have to do the whole temporary wall thing would have been ideal. However, with the amazing amenities, the added security I keep talking about, and the floor to ceiling windows one last time, and staying within our budget, we decided that this was a great place for us. Obviously, I will give you guys a in-person tour when I move, which is not going to be that long from now, so stay tuned for that. Plus, of course, lots more New York City content to come. So I hope this was helpful if you're trying to move to New York City too, and if not, hope you still liked watching. And until next time, I will see you guys soon. Bye.
Go on.